Traditional starting question. Can you just give us a scouting report on Utah? What do you see, and what are you most concerned about when you look at the film?
Everything. Yeah, I mean they're outstanding, really in every phase. They're obviously they're facing an unknown from our standpoint at I think it was better muted. At quarterback, obviously everything they do comes off of Booker. It's just a matter of what the complementary plays are. They always have a great complement of whether it's gadget plays, hard play action pass, the quarterback run element that Kendall Thompson brings. There's just a lot of stuff you have to prepare for in general, and then you have to spend a little bit more time on it differently because of the unknown. But obviously, first and foremost, it's Booker. It's a great offensive line. The traditional big receivers that they've had, they're back. 6'2", 6'3" guys that can really roll. One guy I think is 6'4", but just their whole package is tough to defend. And then defensively, it's kind of a traditional Kyle Whittingham defense, just a really good front four, physical at all levels. The secondary is very physical, again, very long. Seems like they always have 6'3" corners. I don't know where they keep finding all these guys, but 6'3" corners, very physical in your face, a bunch of man coverage. They've added a few more variations to kind of their base package from a coverage standpoint, but just they're going to do their deal. And then special teams, I love their special teams. As long as we're not playing against them, I think they're fun to watch. Obviously they've created a ton of huge plays, whether it's fake punts, fake field goals, all the gadget stuff. But then their return game is outstanding. They can get after you with winning field position battles and making you again defend a bunch of different things that they do. That's just different enough. And then last week, you look at they had a pick six, a punt return, a kickoff return for a touchdown, so they can score in every phase as well.
Mark, Utah had a lot of success in the Mountain West with Urban Meyer, and then Whittingham, even winning a Fiesta Bowl and a Sugar Bowl, I think. It seems like it took them a couple of years to gain traction in the Pac-12. How have you seen them evolve now that most of their players were probably recruited to play in the Pac-12?
I think, in a lot of ways they're the same. And I mean that as a compliment. I think they were, so close so many years of whatever the right phrase is, getting over the top or whatever it is. But they also had an undefeated season and played with a ton of confidence throughout that transition. And they've done a great job recruiting their kind of backyard, and then some junior college guys that they've always recruited, and they've been very effective with it.
Coach, you talked about kind of how everything keys off of Booker. What makes him such a special player?
I mean, he's fast, he's physical, he can block, he can catch. He's a great back. I mean, he doesn't, he's not one of those guys that you go, okay, he's not good at this, we can take advantage of. There's no phase that's a weakness, and so he's a guy. He never gets tackled by one guy ever. And he's one of those guys that if it's blocked for two, he gets 4 or 5 or 6. Just how his power and his ability to stay on the move but still have leverage and finish runs is really impressive.
Specifically, how do you see this team matching up with Travis Wilson compared to Kendall Thompson?
Well, you have to defend their offense, and that's kind of the unknown. Is it's in some ways it's assignment football. In a lot of ways, when you're looking to stop the run first, you have to, everybody's got either a gap or a fit that they're responsible for, and then, if I'm in the secondary, that's not my initial job. My initial job is coverage or play action. All doing your job is that much more important, and then the associated plays off of that is still assignment football, assignment football, and then running like heck to the ball. And that won't change if John Elway's in there or whoever.
Following up with Booker, seems like defenses know that he's going to get the ball a lot, but he's still really successful, still has a lot of production every day. Other than the fact that he's just a good player, why do you think that is?
I don't know if there's any other reason other than that. It's a pretty good reason if you're a really good player. I think he's a great player. I think I don't know. I'm not. I'm trying to think of somebody. Emmitt Smith got the ball a lot, and everybody knew he was going to get the ball, and he still ran for a bunch of yards. There's backs like that. There's a lot more predetermined runs that absolutely, you got a pretty good idea that he's going to get the ball, but they're going to block it. And he just has a great knack for fitting a very small window. These guys run against a bunch of loaded fronts, and they're outnumbered in the box. But between their offensive front and then Booker, they move the ball.
Question, Andrew, front.
Whether it's been Braylon or Charles Nelson, you guys have always had pretty good success returning punts. But what about Utah's punt coverage and Tom Hackett make them very difficult? Yeah. They do a great job of varying their launch point. He's gonna make you defend him first, and so he's gonna run for a first down if he can, and there's that element that's not normal, right? Of most punt teams, and then formationally they challenge you. I think their punt team is a lot kind of like our PAT field goal team is. We're going to make people prepare for a bunch of stuff, and we're going to do one or two things, and they know that going into it, and you have to prepare for everything. A bunch of guys being eligible, and then stopping the punter, trying to force.
Coach, all signs point to Travis Wilson probably playing, but will you prepare for both quarterbacks, and how do you go about doing that?
Just watching their film, and again, it starts with their run game, and then you have to prepare for all of it, of whether it's, weighing Travis Wilson's package is a little bit different than Kendall Thompson's. They're a lot more similar than they are different, but they are different, and so you have to be ready for all of it.
Does that take a lot of extra time to do that, as opposed to knowing if a guy?
Yes and no. I mean, there's enough similarities that it's they whether it's out of the same action that they're trying to start it off with Booker, and they play action pass launch, or to some sort of read element to it, or even a predetermined quarterback run. It usually starts from the same kind of base first play.
Coach, are there any kind of small differences you've seen from looking at them on film this season versus last season, or are they pretty set in their ways on both offense and defense?
I think they've changed a little bit. I think just like anybody, when you lose Nate Orchard or whoever that guy is, I think Dimmick is an unbelievable player. I think that guy's one of the most underrated players in the conference. You're going to do things slightly differently, but they're still, big and fast. They play with great pad level, great hands. Their system is kind of their system, and then they're going to, tweak the coverage maybe a little bit to help this corner versus that corner, and guys that they've had in the past. And the same thing offensively. You're tweaking things slightly based on, again getting to your best complementary plays, but their base scheme in all three phases. It's not going to change, and it shouldn't really. It's been really, really effective.
Mark, how has Vernon looked this week in reps? Has he taken a good amount of reps during practice so far?
He has taken a good amount of reps in practice so far. He looks, very, very similar to last week. So how's that? And it's going to be similar to last week. It'll be right up until the end of the week before we make that call.
I had to ask. Aaron told me to ask that question. No,
he still looks nicer than you do today.
I know. He always does.
TV guy.
Is Utah the most physical team in the Pac-12? Would you say, because they always have that? They always seem to have that aura that they're a very physical football team.
They are extremely physical. I don't know. I'm not going to get in that game of this week is the greatest opponent ever in the history of the world. I think they are very physical. And again, their base deal, they're going to beat you up in all three phases. They're going to, try that's absolutely their job one, is to try to out physical you in all three phases. And, you have to be ready for that and match that, and, get ready for a battle.
What have your impressions of Canton been? He's kind of getting put in the mix slowly, but what have your impressions of him been?
He's a young guy. He's a young guy with a ton of ability. A few gap issues as young guys tend to do, and try to look around and see if they're fitting the right part of the puzzle rather than just knifing and doing your job. And again, that's natural, but he has a ton of potential, and he works his tail off. I know Coach Aiken is really, really happy with how he's just taken to work. And his future is very bright. I think he's just starting to scratch the surface of okay, this all works together if I just do my job, and so that's fun to watch happen.
Anything else? Back up to Andrew.
This was something I'd gotten a bunch of emails about randomly, but it was hard to check on the replay of the game. But some people were asking, was Travis Johnson on the sideline Saturday? And if not, I guess, what's his status?
He's not on the sideline, and he's going to be he's a guy that is going to be out for the season. I can say that. Had a bizarre thing, and nothing weird or anything, but just of medically he's out for the year. Had to have a procedure that will unfortunately, he'll be out this year, and he'll redshirt, and we'll utilize that.